morning, good afternoon, good evening. Wherever you are, welcome again to another podcast episode on Talk Architecture. And I'm your host, Naziati Muhammad Yaakob. I posted on Facebook a newspaper cutting that I found on Star newspaper article, which is actually an opinion post by Dr. Syed Alwee Alsagoff, which is the fellow National Council of Professors. And he had been writing to the newspaper throughout the year, and this is the last one before the end of the year. So the title is called The Year We Forgot to Ask. We forgot to ask what is education. Higher education is what he is questioning the purpose of it all. What is it for? In the light of a lot of things that has happened, which seems to lead to the policymakers asking how to make our graduates more employable, how to get up into the ranking system, the how to question, as if everything is fine with the education. Now, bear with me here. My intention is to actually talk about architecture education per se, but of course, Dr. Syed Alwee Alsagoff talks about higher education as a whole. Now, when the discussion started, I was trying to understand that education per se in universities in Malaysia has, shall we say, has gone away from its main purpose. And I'm trying to put a spin on architecture education per se. So, researching on this, I'm giving a title here called A Call for Transformative Architecture Education in Malaysia. And it does refer to this article sporadically. So when we talk about in the Malaysian context, there is a deeply conflicted relationship with education that the article implied, and this tension is vividly reflected in our architecture programs. Now, we put the premises that parents and families often make enormous sacrifices, financial, emotional, and personal, to secure architecture degrees for their children from prestigious institutions in Malaysia. These degrees are seen as pathways to professional stability, higher employability, and social prestige in the competitive job market. Yet beneath this intense valuation lies a profound discomfort with the bold, disruptive questioning that genuine architecture inquiry demands. We frequently speak of students as products or graduates, metrics to be optimized for the Malaysian Board of Architects or Lembaga Arkitek Malaysia. Part 1 and 2 exemptions, high QS subject rankings, where Malaysian schools like Taylor's often lead private institutions in architecture and built environment, graduate employability rates, and key performance indicators or KPIs. But where is the student's voice? Does the student have anything to say about what's happening? Do aspiring architects truly seek personal and societal transformation through design, or have they too been captured by the logic of credentials, chasing accreditation, compliance, technical proficiency, and industry-ready skills over creative, risk-taking, and ethical reflection? One would say that if one start to actually embark on architecture education? One has his dreams, his ideas about, having a university education and being much more transformative rather than just talking about credentials. I mean, it's like a life journey. So a recent convocation seasons across Malaysian universities highlight this irony perfectly. Vice chancellors and deans deliver inspiring speeches on fostering wisdom, character, ethical practice, and truth in the built environment. So this is reflected in the article talking about in general, but yeah, you have the speeches and graduates would applaud enthusiastically. Then everyone returns to the relentless pursuit of rankings, KPIs, the Malaysian Board of Architecture accreditation renewals, and employability indices. So academics and schools must constantly prove their value through quantifiable outputs, research citations, industry partnerships, and graduate placement rates. But they no longer fully define that value. So policymakers, Malaysian Boards of Architects standards, and market demands increasingly dictate what architecture programs should produce. Technically competent professionals, skilled in sustainable design, digital tools, and construction 4.0, yet often at the expense of deeper purpose. What remains are institutions of higher architectural education that have, in many ways, forgotten what higher truly means. The design studio, the heart of architectural pedagogy, can sometimes reinforce hierarchical models where critiques are authoritative and one-sided, stifling dialogue and discouraging the vulnerability needed for true innovation. Traditional critique sessions, while rigorous, have been criticized for ambiguity, power imbalances, and a focus on compliance rather than nurturing reflective practitioners. So we go back to ancient wisdom, which offers a compelling alternative. Aristotle, this was mentioned in the article, so I'm looking at it from the point of view of architecture education. So Aristotle envisioned education as the cultivation of eudaimonia, human flourishing through virtuous, reflective, and purposeful living, where design serves the greater good of society. Confucius emphasized forming the junzi, the exemplary person, transformed through ethical learning, self-cultivation, and harmonious contribution to community. In architecture, this translates to educating not just skilled builders, but exemplary designers who create spaces that elevate human experience, promote sustainability, address social inequities, and foster cultural identity. So, Malaysian architecture education stands at a crossroads with strengths in technical training and emerging innovations like hybrid studios post-pandemic. We have the foundation to reclaim this higher purpose by reforming studio critiques into dialogic, encouraging forums, integrating experiential process-driven learning, balancing the Board of Architects' mandated employability with creative inquiry and philosophical depth. And empowering student voices, we can produce architects who are not mere credential holders, but transformative junzi of the built environment. So you see the argument here that I'm trying to put forward, that somewhere you are lost. The voice of the students the learning, the transformative aspect of higher education in which one would like to go through. So it is time to redesign our system. Prioritize flourishing over factory-like production, inquiry over conformity, and character alongside competence. Only then will Malaysian architecture education truly honor the sacrifices made for it and contribute to a flourishing society. So in a way, this is we're advocating focus episode here, expanding on the Malaysians' conflicted educational ethos. So applying it directly to architecture programs. We are critiquing the overemphasis on credentials, rankings, and KPIs, while passionately advocating for reforms that reclaim the higher ideals of human flourishing, which is eudaimonia and exemplary character, which is junzi. So we would like to explore this further with students and educators and practitioners in the future. And this is an introduction and a reaction to that particular piece by Syed Alwee Alsagoff just now. So we shall explore practical paths forward with looking into dialogic studio critiques, ethical integration, and student-centered pedagogy to nurture innovative and transformative architects. So there's going to be some more of this in part 2. This is part 1, an introduction to the way forward on architecture education based on a reaction to the newspaper article by Syed Alwee Alsagoff. So watch out for the next episode. Thank you for listening. The next episode will be on dialogic studio critic methods in architecture education. Thank you for listening.